Welcome back. Kansas City community leaders are trying a new ambitious approach to try to drastically reduce how many people are hurt or killed. It's called KC 360, and it follows an example set by a similar group in Nebraska called Omaha 360.
That program's been going strong for 17 years with some promising data to back it up. When Fox 4 followed Kansas City leaders on a trip to Omaha, we learned that improving the data and making people feel safer are two different things.
No city is perfectly safe, but right now is one of the safest times to be in Omaha. Generally, there have been fewer homicides and shootings from one year to the next from 2012 until the start of the COVID pandemic, while more crimes that do happen get solved, driving up public opinion around the Omaha Police Department. It's the kind of data report that city leaders dream about. And yet, Omaha resident Nina Holbert isn't so sure.
It's really hard to say because we just had a murder like a few days ago.
Omaha 360 is the big group of organizations and individuals addressing the underlying causes of violence and crime, trying to stop it before it ever starts. It's expensive, requiring hundreds of millions of dollars from public, private, business, and philanthropic sources every year to fund job and housing programs. It's a heavy lift, but it's built on relationships between police and the community that was already helping solve the murder Nina was talking about a few days after it happened.
I gangbanged for years around the streets of North Omaha.
Latron Lewis is known as Chrome, and he admits he's one of the last people you would have expected to find in a room with police officers by his own choice. Even now, he doesn't sit right next to them, but his Code Z outreach network connected the dots about that shooting, while Kansas City leaders looked on.
We're able to gather intel from the streets because we're trusted by these local street gangs.
The intel was that the victim a few days earlier was part of one group, and that the car of suspected shooters included somebody who had been paralyzed in a previous shooting and was out for revenge. A quick back and forth between Code Z and police confirmed some of that information and gave everyone else a much clearer idea about what might have happened that night. Todd Schmatter is the Omaha police chief.
It's music to my ears. Here's how it helps. When we have a violent crime, a shooting or a homicide in Omaha, very seldom do we not have early working knowledge of who potential suspects are. And imagine a city that doesn't know. You're just not going to solve those.
And Chief Schmatter's department has done a lot of solving over the last few years. Homicide rates have dropped, and last year, Omaha PD solved all 29 of its homicides and more than 3/4 of shootings where no one died, which is basically unheard of for a mid-size or large city. Still, Omaha 360 founder Willie Barney says it takes time to feel the big progress he says his group has made.
Some of it's pretty immediate, just by having attention and it's very focused. But sustaining it is the trick.
Because of that, Willie says they've earned the time and goodwill to tackle the bigger problems on a massive scale. Even when there's a string of shootings or setbacks during COVID, residents like Catherine Rasmussen are willing to trust Omaha will get back on track.
It isn't just talk. They have action, they have a plan, and they tell you what it is. And they don't hide from the controversial things that happen, so you trust them.
The early work in Kansas City has started. $3.5 million of investment in the Santa Fe neighborhood came first. But a fatal shooting while the KC 360 group was in Omaha drives the point home. There's still more work to be done.
Right now we're averaging, a shooting, a homicide every other day. Who are we waiting for?
That was KC Common Good and KC 360 founder Classy Alcine, who's helping drive the effort in Kansas City. And that's our focus in our third and final story about this effort in KC. For as accomplished as Omaha's program is, the people at the center of it say Kansas City is already farther along, earlier in the process.
Kansas City reminds me a lot of Omaha in 2010. It may take some persistence because it's going to be ups and downs, but Kansas City's on the cusp of really doing some good things.
We'll find out where Kansas City is now and where it wants to go in the next few months and years. That's coming up in our third and final piece that airs tomorrow right here on Fox 4 News at 10.